Masicka is coming for Vybz Kartel, and him now hold back. This isn't just a clash, it's a challenge to the king himself. But what drives Masicka right now? Is it fame, ego, or is it a full takeover of dancehall? Well, the answer I go shock you now.
Yo, one know the issue of dancehall, link Entourage Records. One know the talk I turn in dancehall, link Entourage Records. Your Entourage, the meat you know eat from morning, your ruggedness.
Bless up, and welcome back to Entourage Records. Yeah, new viewer here, please consider subscribing. Turn on your post notification bell so whenever I make a new upload, you can be the first to be notified. War is in the air, and we see that for the past 2 weeks with the Tamale versus Masicka clash. But it seems like there can be a spin-off, or Masicka is seeking a spin-off, or some people in a dancehall as a spin-off where a clash with Vybz Kartel and Masicka. Especially, some naysayers and things like Footer Hype is saying Vybz Kartel is afraid and that he's no Grace Thrillers because first and foremost, him wouldn't sing the song on the storybook rhythm. So Footer Hype, him I try boost up this warrior and him I say Vybz Kartel afraid and basically I say if he stop make excuses. But what would this war actually look like? And first and foremost, I have to look at Masicka's qualification in terms of him its songs. So me I try and match up him against Vybz Kartel, I guess. So as far as him achievements in billboards, what kind of billboard Masicka have right now, or what kind of achievements in comparison to a Vybz Kartel. And if these two artists will clash, for because we know how Kartel do same thing. Kartel like say, hey, cut the bull. Make a match up on the stage then. Saying? So would this be an interesting clash where this be a crowd puller then? One Vybz Kartel versus a Masicka. So we have to look at also credentials, clash credentials. And we know say Vybz Kartel have enough and good clash credential in comparison to a Masicka. How would Masicka match up with a Vybz Kartel? I mean, in terms of lyrical potency. Well, the lyrical potency, there are two artists were good lyrically, and Masicka have some very good rhyming scheme. Kartel will knock you out cold, him full of punches. Clash experience, Masicka don't really have much. Kartel have whole heap when they forward to records, and Kartel have whole heap when they forward to stage show, because we see with him and Vado, and we also, well him and Ninja Man in 2003, that it end up in a massive beating and thing with Ninja Man. And we also see him with Gringo on the stage, a Beenie Man peace concert. So we know Kartel knows his way around the stage. How would Masicka manage himself in our clash door? Not just lyrics, but psychologically. I don't think he managed himself psychologically well recently against Tamale, and that was a big knock on him in the clash. So would Masicka even be one worthy opponent? Would he be a worthy, whether on stage or on record, based on what we see recently? But after all that take place recently, why would Masicka want one Vybz Kartel clash after we see basically how him angle himself with a Tamale? I mean, any interest with another clash? Would this clash be necessary for dancehall, or this clash would only be necessary for Masicka in terms of for media purposes? Because we know that this would have gained him one whole heap of popularity, and this would have stimulated the media some more, whereas they would have boosted up Masicka and thing. But also, Masicka have an album forward pretty soon. So probably this would be good for his album sales in streaming, and this probably would have boosted his career some more, where more people would have known him. So this is probably why Masicka would have wanted, or would have want one clash with Vybz Kartel. But one more take into perspective, or more put it to Uno Entourage family. The clash recently, did this elevate Masicka's status in any way, shape, or form as a war artist, or did it prove that the entire thing from July was a calculated move? The calculated move being that Masicka set himself away as far as the go talk, the Jashi talk. So that alone keep him relevancy for align in name with Vybz Kartel, but in a one different atmosphere, a more confrontational atmosphere. That's why him stick to the GOAT and King narrative when he keep pushing it, because him calculate that movie all the way up to him album, because he already probably knows Vybz Kartel status and know that although what he's been doing for the past 2 years or 2.5 years, it's been good and he's getting all these recording hits, but it's still no match up based upon his achievements, or say in qualifications then, where him not actually prove himself out there for say, boy, hey, me I want worthy opponent for match up. I've got clash against a Vybz Kartel. So is Masicka looking for something? Or if him that look for something in a one clash with Vybz Kartel, what would he be looking for? Well, Masicka would have a lot to gain. Masicka would be looking for benefits. And Masicka would be looking also for a hype in his career. So, in my humble opinion, he would have go in the clash with a free frame of mind. In other words, whether him win or lose, he'd be looking for elevation. He'd be elevating himself to a different dimension, to a different status. So, he'd be trying to prove that he can clash with the giants. The result might not give him any justice, but the crowd support will give him an A+ for bravery. So people look upon him like, oh, he's brave, because look who he go against. The great cartel, the GOAT of dancehall. This a Masicka, we're gonna underrate. Nah man, we ever give him props. Look what him do. Look how him tear up the teacher. Look how he make the teacher have to dig down deep to beat him. Stuff like that. Masicka also would be looking for crowd validation. And basically, something like that, me just say. He probably tell himself, say, the man when he wants idolized, him can usurp him, move him by force, take away him power. And we see how powerful Bounty Killer was, and we see how powerful Vybz Kartel is. So with all that, Masicka stay from beyond the fence and look across the fence and see the power Vybz Kartel have and say to himself, say, that's the power him want. So he's looking to the top for take down or for the throne, the man with the on the top. So he might do it by will or by force. That's probably how he's looking at it. And in his song, he ain't talk about Gaza nation for go down. So him want to take down the Gaza nation. And if he can't, he want to make inroads in a Gaza nation. So this would be great for Masicka. As far as me say, him being the underdog, many people would cheer for him and he would gain many fans for who hate Vybz Kartel, and plus he would gain neutral support. But here what now, make it forward back to earth. The reality. Can he win? Bluntly, me not think so. Why? Masicka have too much short forwardings. We don't say shortcomings, short forwardings, which would be his biggest downfall. So no one might say, Entourage, what you mean? Like what? Well, I'm gonna make him know. Like him ego. He's easily bothered. Him clash like him in the freaking studio. And psychological warfare is his biggest enemy. And that's why Tommy Lee looks so superior to him most time in them recent clash. Tommy Lee have him a box around the room. Not with lyrics, but with psychology. So the narrative that Kartel is afraid? No, he's not afraid. He's just using silence as his psychological advantage to undermine Masicka's ploy. So if I can see it from an outsider, Kartel will see it for what it really is and not what it's believed to be. In other words, Kartel more likely, I said to himself, say, Masicka know him can't war me, and he himself know him can't war me. But Masicka know the benefits to war me, so I'm not going to give him the time of the day. So let me sum this up for you. One thing is crystal clear. Vybz Kartel now go hand Masicka the benefit of one clash. And the reason are not just pride, it's strategy, experience, and plain recognition of who truly belong in the ring of dancehall giants. Kartel doesn't see Masicka as a worthy opponent. Him watch him struggle not only with his own career moves, but even with Tommy Lee. And this is how Kartel sees Masicka. A younger artist who's made waves, but still barely scratches the surface of what it takes to dominate the game. In the eyes of Kartel, Masicka hasn't paid the price, hasn't endured the battles, and don't understand the subtle war that is dancehall, the art of war that's more than just shouting bars or making hype tracks. This isn't about who has the loudest voice, the flashiest jewelry, or the most hype on social media. Kartel has been in this game long enough to sit through it. Even though the battles aren't won by who can scream the loudest or make the crowd go wild, they are won by strategy, timing, patience, and the ability to survive the heat when it's real. Masicka, for all his talent, is still learning this lesson. And in that sense, challenging Kartel isn't a matter of skill. It's a test that Kartel doesn't feel is necessary because he's already seen the outcome in his mind. Masicka not ready to play a long game, yeah. And yet, Masicka wants this war, not because he believes he can beat Kartel in a straight-up clash, but probably deep down knows that the odds stack against him. He wants it because he creates validation from dancehall, because he wants a crown that comes not from strategy or survival, but from recognition. He wants to prove to the world and perhaps to Fee himself that he belongs, that Fee name is worthy of being mentioned alongside Vybz Kartel. But that's the dangerous part of ambition. When you chase validation instead of mastering your craft, you expose yourself to disappointment. Masicka is stepping into a war he doesn't fully understand. The hype might feel real, the audience might scream for it, but Kartel doesn't just play the game, he define it. And a king doesn't hand out victories to those still learning the rules. He lets the hype roar, the fans cheer, but the reality is far different. So as Masicka pushes for this clash, the question isn't just about bars or hits or stage presence. The real question is, what is he truly seeking? Is it respect, glory, or is it just the illusion of power that comes from being seen challenging the unbeatable? Dancehall has always been about survival, about understanding the battlefield before stepping onto it, and Kartel knows this. Masicka may want a war, but Kartel doesn't need to fight to prove he's king. He knows his place, and he knows Masicka is still climbing, still chasing, still hungry for recognition. In the end, this isn't just a clash of voices, it's a clash of perspective, of wisdom versus ambition. Kartel doesn't see Masicka as an equal. He sees him as a young artist chasing validation in a war he isn't ready to fight. And Masicka, he is willing to risk it all, not for victory, but for the fleeting affirmation that comes from shaking the king's throne. If only for a moment. That's the real story behind this potential clash. It's not about who wins the next track of state performance. It's about understanding who truly knows how to survive in the merciless world of dancehall. So as the hype builds and the fans speculate, remember this. Masicka wants a war, but Kartel isn't here to hand out lessons or victories. He's here to show that experience, strategy, and the understanding of the art of war is true survival, which matter more than just hype, more than ambition, more than recognition. And in that, the gap between the king and the challenger becomes crystal clear. Masicka may have the will, the voice, and the hunger, but Kartel has the wisdom, the scars, and the throne. And until Masicka learns that, the king won't give him the benefit of a clash, no matter how loud the crowd gets. Viewers and subscribers, want to leave a thought on a comment in the comment section so we can talk about it. We've come to the end of another video. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, those who have done so as yet. Also, please turn the post notification bell so whenever I make a new upload, you can be the first to be notified. Peace out, bless up, I'll definitely catch you in the next one.